Despite claiming that 2024 was their year of run, Reebok has been kind of quietly playing in the running space over the last few years. We've kind of had one-off models, but last year the introduction of the Floatzig 1 was somewhat of a signal that Reebok was ready to take the running line a little bit more serious. A year later, we now get the update, but does it stand up to the original, and how does it fare overall? Today, we're reviewing the Reebok Floatzig 2. What's up everybody, I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod, and you're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review running shoes. Today, like I said, we're going to review the Floatzig 2, but if it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice those timestamps below. Feel free to jump around to the various parts of this review, but if you do so, I would sure appreciate if you come back, watch the full thing when you get a sec, as I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. And if you've been a viewer for a while, but you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so today and turning on notifications so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Now, quick plug before I get into any details here, I am currently raising money to run the Tokyo Marathon. I should find out officially in the next few weeks if I got in, but based off my bid and based on how the entry process goes for charity runners, I do believe I shouldn't have any issues there. As such, I'm going to be donating any of the revenue that I generate through YouTube, whether that be through thanks donations in the comments or just views and ad revenue in general for the months of June, July, and August, in an effort to raise $4,000 for that charity. So if you'd like to contribute, please consider donating through the comments by hitting that thanks button below and entering the value directly there. Or you can actually just continually watch and share these videos, as like I said, any ad revenue that is generated in the months of June, July, and August are going towards charity regardless. On top of that, any commissions that I generate through my affiliate links in my description below as well will go towards charity for those 3 months. So if you're in need of any running gear, specifically like half tights or anything along those lines, or running gels, if you need some running gels for your long runs or any type of running nutrition or snacks, please consider using the affiliate link to Fuel Goods below, as it will give me a kickback and I'll be donating those kickbacks or those commissions towards charity for June, July, and August as well. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about some disclaimers and disclosures with this shoe, which are that I was provided the shoe for free for the purpose of review directly from Reebok. That being said, I'm not paid, I'm not given talk tracks or talking points, no one watches the videos beforehand, and all thoughts are entirely my own. With that out of the way, let's talk about the intended use of this shoe. Now the Floatzig line is really supposed to blend kind of casual, everyday use with the actual everyday running use. Basically all that means is that the shoe is supposed to be good for daily miles, easy runs, kind of just steady overall paces, as well as being able to wear it casually in the office as you travel wherever you may go. And I think, honestly, for the most part, at least visually, it gets that job done. Now, speaking about the price, the shoe comes in at $120, which for a daily trainer nowadays is very, very affordable. Most daily trainers come in at least in the $140, if not $150 to $160 range. So $120 is really considered kind of a budget shoe, but it is Reebok's like standard daily trainer. So I really like that they're keeping it at that $120 price point. Now, from a specs perspective, the shoe comes in at 10.4 ounces, which is 295 grams. And then you have 33 in the heel, 27 in the forefoot for a 6mm heel to toe drop. So it's sitting right in that mid drop range. Now from a fit perspective, I would say it fits true to size lengthwise. I would not half size up or down based off the length alone. And then from a width perspective, I would say it fits standard to snug. So I do feel like that midfoot area fits a little bit snug. Standard overall toe box and standard overall heel. So if you are wide footed, you may want to consider looking at wide sizes. Not sure if this will come in wide sizes, but something to think about. Now moving to the upper of the shoe, we have a engineered mesh. So if you remember the one had kind of these more plasticky overlays here on the side, and it was just this breathable mesh. You have a similar overall breathable mesh there in the toe box area, but that mesh kind of just continues throughout the shoe, and then you do get some kind of harder plasticky, probably TPU overlays here in the midfoot area as well, but that base layer is just kind of meshed throughout. You also have some light cushion there in the heel, nothing super overwhelming, and I would say kind of a mid-weight overall tongue, which is fully gusseted, which does aid in the lockdown of the shoe as well. Now, part of this shoe kind of feels a little bit old school, both from the overall look and vibe, but also, you know, these pieces here feel almost leathery and really kind of remind me of more of a classical overall running shoe. And I think that that kind of summarizes a lot of the shoe to me. You know, I think last year the Floatzig 1 felt a little bit more true running performance based, but trying to give it more of a like classical look, while the Floatzig 2 takes just more of a classical running shoe flair and fit overall. So you're not going to get a ton of stretch in this, this upper. It is going to be supportive, but it can be in some ways a little bit stiff throughout as well. The shoe is not the most breathable, but it is fairly breathable. And I will say it is comfortable. Like there's some really, really nice comfort, but I just feel like it's not as flexible as a lot of running shoes out there. There's a lot more structure, a lot more kind of rigidity in the upper than maybe you might be used to compared to a lot of more modern shoes. Now, again, looking at that lockdown though, you're not going to be slipping around in the shoe. Regardless of what pace you decide to take this out at, you should be good. There should not be shifting around overall with the fit. Moving to the midsole, you have that Zig Tech pattern, and the foam itself is, I believe, a supercritical TPU, which they are calling Super Float Plus. So the foam itself is a change between the 1 and the 2. The foam is going to be a little bit firmer, but still soft, still cushiony, right? It's still got a nice kind of comfort underfoot. When I say firmer, it's just firmer in the sense that it doesn't like inherently compress super easily just when you're standing there. Like you have to put a little bit of force into the shoe. But I think what's most noticeable is here in the medial side, there is a little bit more foam. So it's a little bit wider base. And then it also just has a little bit more support there. So from a stability standpoint, it's not a stability shoe, but it does a good job of keeping you upright. You're not going to, or you're gonna have a really hard time overpronating in a shoe like this. Now the foam underfoot, like I said, it is bouncy. It is not the most responsive shoe I've ever felt though. So with a supercritical TPU, sometimes those can be really explosive. This is a little bit more tame, and I think from a pace versatility standpoint, it sits really more in that, daily mile, easy run. Like I won't really want, or I don't really feel like I want to pick up the pace in this shoe necessarily. It's perfectly capable of strides, but I don't think it's capable of like a full-on workout. Overall though, the heel to toe transition is really nice, and the shoe is soft and comfortable underfoot. I think it's a really good option. Like I do think that the intended use of like everyday usage, like wear it to work, wear it to the office, but then wear it on a run, like it's a little bit more life versatile rather than pace versatile. I think it would be an excellent travel shoe kind of for that matter as well. The Zig Tech itself, I don't know if it does anything other than visual. I do think it's a cool looking pattern, but they do have, pieces of the midsole that kind of protrude a little bit more in this midfoot area, or this midsole, or this medial side, just because, again, it's giving a little bit of support. The way it compresses makes sure that you're not going to be toppling over. Now, moving to that outsole, you have a banded rubber on the bottom there. What that does is it's going to save a little bit of weight, and honestly, I found that it gives some pretty good grip overall as well. After about 30 miles, I have very little, if any, noticeable wear and tear on the bottom of the shoe. The shoe is held up really well, and for the most part, I haven't really worn it in super slick surfaces or areas, but the grip has done a really good job. And if it's the same as the 1, which I do believe it is, then it shouldn't have any issues. I didn't struggle with that outsole whatsoever, even on like somewhat icy roads, to be honest. I really like the banded rubber idea. I do feel like it gives, really good coverage while not sacrificing like weight at all, or making it extra heavy. And so I do like that Reebok has gone with that. And I kind of wish more brands, to be honest, would try a more banded pattern like that. Now, as far as who's this shoe for, I feel like we've kind of talked about it already. It really is a shoe that is meant to, be comfortable, be responsive, be, good for daily runs. You can take it out a couple of times a week on your standard runs, your daily runs, easy runs, and feel comfortable. But then also, for me, I'm working in an office 3 times a week nowadays, so I'll wear this to the office and then use it, in the gym on a quick run during my lunch break and things along those lines. So I think it accomplishes that purpose really well. I'll be honest though, I do feel like Reebok kind of went away from the idea of making running just fun, and this was a little bit safer overall play at a running shoe, and it felt like a little bit of an overcorrection. So with that in mind, just some final thoughts on the shoe. I would love to see Reebok take some more risk. It feels like they have taken a step back, not in production or quality of shoe. Like the shoe itself is a good shoe. I just really loved the Floatzig 1, and so this feels like, just a more conservative version of the Floatzig 1. And while that may have a little bit more mass appeal for those who need a little bit support, I'm not saying that that's not a good thing, but Reebok also did have the Symmetros, which is kind of like the support version of the Floatzig 1 already. So I would have liked them to continue to like push the needle a little bit, right, with the Floatzig 2, stay with kind of some of the crazy, stay with kind of the fun, and just get wild with it, experiment with it. You know, I'm not sure if Reebok is going to continually invest in their running line like they said they were in 2024. It does seem like there were some shifts internally that may have, I don't know if they moved budget away from it or what, but the direction has definitely changed after a big push in at the end of 2023 into 2024, where Reebok really, like at the running event, they basically gave everyone who was there who wanted a pair of the Floatzig ones, versus in 2024, I mean, they weren't even there at the running event last year. So, you know, I was really excited to see what was coming. I didn't even get a chance until I received these. And so Reebok, if you're watching, please consider reinvesting back into the running line. I did feel like you guys were doing something really, really cool. I was excited to see what was to come. Floatzig 2, really, really solid shoe, especially at $120, but would love to see a little bit more risky take, as outside of the Floatzig 1, I feel like a lot of the other models have been a little bit more conservative. So, you know, if you watched this far, I sure appreciate you. Please let me know in the comments what questions you have about the Floatzig 2, as well as what I could be doing better as a reviewer to make these more interesting, more fun, educational, entertaining, whatever it may be. If you watched this far and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so today. And again, one last quick plug, if you'd like to help me get to Tokyo, run the Tokyo Marathon, please consider donating through the thanks button in the comments below, or using any of the affiliate links in the description to purchase any gear or fuel that you may need. And with that, I'll finish out by leaving you guys with a question, which is, what is your favorite Reebok running shoe? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.